Did I do something wrong there, JT?
Just I did start, you're good to go.
Okay,
You know, live.
thank you.
So, member absent, Cody Wells, didn't he resign?
He did.
In the minutes.
Yeah, it's in the
It's
minutes.
in the minutes?
Yeah, it's, one of the last things on the meeting minutes. So, obviously take a minute to go through them, and get them out in time. I did go in and edit my name, half of it was spelt right, half of it was not spelt right. I didn't see anything else.
The half a name I have is spelled right.
What's that?
The half a name I have is spelled right.
Yes. I might have missed
Starting to
some.
feel
I
like a
did-
celebrity.
She likes you. That's just,
How do you spell your wife's last name?
Welfing.
Okay.
Hyphen.
There's a couple spots in here where in bold it says BOS vote and then nothing further. Oh, I see. It's like a heading for that paragraph.
Yes.
Okay. Never mind.
Yeah, the nonprofit was joint meeting.
Yep.
There'll be more of that next year.
More what? Joint meetings or nonprofits?
Joint meetings. Just to try and streamline things, some of the smaller budgets we're gonna try and do is joint meetings. So let me know if anybody has anything that needs to be edited, or if you're good. Everybody good with the meeting minutes? I see people doing different things.
Yep.
Yeah. Alright, then I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from December 16th, 2025 as written.
Second.
Second by Elena. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright. That's done. So, in your packets, if you're reading enjoyment, you should have a copy of the current trust fund balances, unassigned fund balance calculation sheet from the procedure sheet for the budget committee. So that's what I use to do my calculations. A copy of the fund balance retention from the DRA. The important sheet from the MS 535. Even though we didn't really need to do that step because the DRA does that for us, but that was in data point 1. And also a list of the delinquencies as of 12/16. And then,
That was what, 32 pages? initially?
Yeah,
I believe it was.
yep,
But the misleading part of that is, the last tax bill we just had is in there, which a lot of people, that hasn't processed through. You know,
Yeah, what's the date when they're,
it's,
January something.
26th, yeah,
January what?
it's something, it's what, January and 26th.
Right.
So a lot of people come in late on that, you know, a good thing is if you, to look at it, you take out that year, you go back and you look at the earlier stuff. So all the past years prior to that bill, including this year, was totaling up like about 420,000.
Yeah, I caught that too, where there were tax bills that technically haven't been due yet.
Right, yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
so-
can tell you, my name was on the list, but I know for a fact that my mortgage company paid it out of my escrow 2 weeks ago.
And to that point,
Process.
there's a
That's
whole
the
bunch,
process here.
there's a whole bunch of names on that list that, you know, if you've been looking at these things as long as I have, these people always pay.
Right.
Yeah, so-
That's not a scary number, is it?
No.
Look, it just went out late.
so what I
I
did,
saw my name, I'm like, that deadbeat.
yeah, no, so mostly I was just looking at the top, at the summary at the top. Took the 3.19 million, subtracted, the 2.6 from the 2025 PO2, that's the latest tax bill that went out. So I didn't include that in the delinquencies, cause those tax bills just went out. So what I ended up with for, unpaid taxes was 519,121. So that's in the email I sent you guys. So I subtracted that from the retained amount from the DRA on page 4, which is 1.4, or 1,470,906. So using the data point 2 math that was passed down, I came up with an unassigned fund balance of 951,878. And then, obviously our question is how much of that do we wanna use towards warrant articles? The select board has chosen to use 343,400. I have some different scenarios there. When we met earlier in the year, we talked about how the, budget committee has traditionally retained 800,000 for cash on hand. Subtract that from the 951, you get 151,785 in available unassigned fund balance. If we retain just the back taxes owed, that gives us 432,664, and these are just suggestions. We can come up with a final number that we're comfortable with. If we just retain the max recommended by the DRA, that would be 161,803, which would give us an unassigned fund balance of 790,000, which is, in my opinion, 161 is not enough cash on hand. I know you sent me an email questioning that.
Yeah, I
Does the math
mean,
make sense now, or did I make a mistake?
I think, so, I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter if we're not going to that extreme
Right,
regardless. But that 161,803 is 17% of
yes,
951.
yes,
And the 951, or before you take out the unpaid taxes, the 1,470,000, that's 21%. Like, you're taking 17% off of an already. The 17% maximum recommended is supposed to be of your total general fund operating expenses.
oh, so you're,
You did like another it's like an order of magnitude kind of thing.
okay,
You double it,
What's that?
you kinda double it.
Yeah. That's why it's such a small number.
oh, okay,
But like 17% of the 6,900,000, whatever, would.
Okay.
I put it in the email, but
yeah, I didn't quite follow you, I think I might be missing a sheet. No. Yeah, so this is what
yeah.
their 17% would be, but that doesn't account for delinquent taxes.
Right, so if you took out the delinquent taxes, you'd still have like $600,000, not 160.
Oh, from this number here, I see what you're
Right.
saying, yeah,
You did that math from this.
From that number.
Data point suggestions. and-
okay, now I'm tracking with you.
Yeah,
So I guess ultimately, before we look at the warrant articles, We just need to agree on what we're comfortable with of the unassigned fund balance.
So, so right now, Board of Selectmen is
300 and, where'd that sheet go?
the 345, there's 2,000 on another sheet.
Yeah, 343, 400. So that's, the 4901-01.
That's including the that's in there with the 250 from the road paving.
And then did you do on the capital reserve funds, $2,000? Someone assigned?
Yeah, whatever you have here is what we approved.
So so we got the 4916 expendable trust, we got the 4915 capital reserve. But pretty much the only one of these three sheets that's getting any unassigned fund balance applied to it is the 4901, are the warrants. So like I said, the select board, chose to use 343, 400 of the unassigned fund balance. So we can work with that, we can increase it, we can decrease it.
Yeah,
That would leave us with about 600,000. Not counting the taxes that are owed.
Yeah, so if we use the unassigned fund balance, that takes out delinquent taxes.
just keep in mind though, we got a big cash coming in on, the auction.
Yeah, but hopefully we can apply that to next year's taxes. Cause that'll all go into the unassigned fund balance.
Maybe.
So as you say, maybe, when I looked at the warrant articles that were proposed, at least on the email, I don't think that I saw all the warrant articles that were proposed at the other at the.
No, we're not done yet.
Yeah, I've got
Okay.
drafts of the warrant articles for the committee at the end of the meeting, cause we'll be discussing that next week, next meeting.
Because some big ticket items didn't seem to be here.
Yeah, well, you got some of the big ones, I mean, like the road, Pine River and all that stuff. What's the big ticket you're looking at?
Well, there was some pretty good requests going on, I'm not gonna just, I was here and I would just remember there was a lot of, items brought up, so I didn't. I'm just saying,
So if
not
we go with
everything's
just the
included,
select
so
board
your
number,
bottom
that's
line
what we'll
number
have.
won't be reflected of what's being asked for. I don't remember it exactly.
I think, if you go back last year,
So if we, as the budget committee works with the select board's unassigned fund balance, usage, that would leave us with 608, 385. In unassigned fund balance
what's that
for
percentage come up to,
operating cash.
It's-
Percentage of,
to the total?
I just did that, like adding back in the taxes owed. And if, like the way the DRA calculates it, and then it would be 16%.
that we're retaining?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's,
about right, especially
yeah,
if
from
next
the
year,
DRA, that's,
yeah,
we're in there.
and especially if next year we're gonna be looking. For a bond,
27.
yeah, but showing, well, I guess what I'm saying is. Showing, a solid financial history as far as cash on hand.
Yes,
Will,
for, the
will,
bonds.
will
and
look
everything
better
else.
for when we go
Yes.
for a bond.
Yes,
So the maximum recommended is 17%, and
that's a mag.
based on everything, it's gonna be 16%.
If we stick with the 343, then using the DRA's calculations.
Like, I think we have all the articles in here on these sheets.
Like I said, I've got drafts of the warrant articles for everybody for after the meeting, cause we'll be looking at that
Okay.
next week.
I might have missed it looking on my phone, so I thought there was some
Yeah.
thought, but.
I mean, concerning the, looking at the money that's coming in from the auction, we're discussing about putting that in an ETF fund versus going back into that and utilize it for the new building.
Okay,
So that's one way of looking at it.
okay, but yeah, I mean, it could,
It's only to be used in the new municipal buildings.
okay.
If it's not used, then we'll go back into the, if we wanna go with the new buildings, then it goes back into the general budget.
Well, you have to give for a warrant article vote to,
Yep. But we don't have a final figure yet.
So are we comfortable with the 343? Do we wanna,
I'm comfortable with it.
add another 8,000 and keep the unassigned fund balance at about 600,000?
the problem always with, for me, with the unassigned fund balance is it's made up of so many funds that you can't lay your hands on at every given time. And depending which way certain tax liens that don't get cleared off the books, like on this sheet, there's 237,000. That money doesn't always clear off. Maybe it goes into property for sale or what have you, depending on the property, if it has a value, or if it's a superfund site. Or the the taxes receivable from property taxes that, depending on the economy and stuff, can jump in a given year, and that money doesn't come in. And before you know it, you've got $200,000 you can't lay your hands on. That's always been a concern. So I would always lean to the side of retaining as much as you can in your unassigned fund balance. And this 17% has been on the books as a recommendation for way longer than I've ever been involved with the town
Right.
stuff. And so I don't know, as the numbers grow, 17% to me just can disappear really quick on a bad year, depending what happens. You gotta have.
And that's their
You've gotta have liquid assets, in case you have a washout of roads, or an ice storm that takes trees down, or
Right.
something else comes out of the woodwork. Liquid assets are liquid assets. Money that your brother-in-law owes you for the last 10 years isn't anything.
And, 2 years ago, we had that issue,
Yeah, well, and
Yeah.
it's not the first time,
And,
and we survived.
and that's their maximum recommendation, they actually go lower, but like I
Yeah,
said.
it's max.
Yeah,
but
they
they're not
actually,
gonna tell you no if you went over.
yeah.
No, but,
So like I said, traditionally, since I've been on the budget committee, we've held 800,000, but that would only give us 151,785 to apply to warrant articles. But if we stick with the select board's 343, 400, that'll leave us with 608,000 cash on hand for cash flow, basically.
Well, I'm of the school that you keep some money in your bank that's liquid assets, and you apply more revenues to the taxation, and then the people get taxed on what needs to be taxed on, and if you wanna up that tax bill, you apply the warrant articles for an increase in taxes. Right now, some of this unassigned fund balance is misleading, because how that money's coming into the town bothers me. That's just me, and I don't think a lot of taxpayers are aware of how that money's flowing in. Cause the money you've got in hand now today, you actually had increases in your tax rate last year to get it, a lot of it. And that's always just bothers me. And you put your taxes up front, put the revenues to them, so otherwise you cut your revenues, taxes go up, and the average person doesn't see that money kinda like coming in under the table, basically into the checking account, so.
Scott,
I'm sorry.
Just a point of order,
Yeah, sure, Chris.
something he just said, our tax rate was actually 14 cents less last year than the year prior. So you said the tax rate went up, it was 14 cents less.
Well, the tax.
2024, the tax rate is 14 cents less.
Right, okay, but a lot of the things that are probably allowing that to be reduced is taking the unassigned fund balance and paying things down. We're paying them down as your tax bill gets factored into the warrant articles. If you're paying off warrant articles that would normally be taxed if the voters didn't apply, if you didn't apply the unassigned fund balance, the voters don't see that. That's what's allowing you, Chris, when
It
you're
got
shifting
taxed
in
at some
200,
time.
what?
It got taxed at some point.
Well, that's the thing, it
Yeah.
got taxed last year when you put in your revenue stream, and the revenue stream gets cut, the municipality brought in $250,000, and that wasn't applied towards the tax rate. So that $250 last year would have been like $1.15 on your tax rate. So that you're getting taxed on it, you may not realize it, and then you go to town meeting and say, hey, this isn't gonna affect your tax rate. Yeah, you affected it last year, you raised my tax rate to get this money to apply it to the new shiny object we're buying today. And a lot of people don't understand that, so I just like it to be a little different.
Do you
I
have,
did the same thing when I was on the board, but we were broke. You know, went in and said, this isn't gonna raise your taxes, it's not, but we were paying for things that way, cause we had to cut the revenues because we had no money. We're in October and we had $32,000 in our bank account in 2019. The town was running out of money. And we, through that, just skimmed getting through the tier.
Yeah, well, we don't have that issue now.
Well, that's my point. The town's fairly solvent at this point in time. So you don't have to short the revenues. You can apply the revenues, lower the tax rate, and then people go to town meeting and decide whether their tax rate should go up or down to pay for the new shiny object we're asking for this year. That's just me. I mean, that's how I'd like to see it. It's always seems a
Well,
little
I mean, we're-
deceptive otherwise.
The biggest impact is the $250,000 for Pine River Road, of that 343,000 or whatever.
Right.
And there is a warrant article, if they defeat that,
Yeah, but
then it's not, the tax.
But the thing of it is that 250, we're deciding to put into our roads. That's fair, it's honest and everything. To say there's another 270,000 that's not gonna affect your taxes is not telling the truth that we raised that 270,000, a lot of it, or maybe all of it, through shorting revenues, which created your tax bill to go up. You apply the revenues, that's the offset to taxation for property taxes. I mean, but there again, a lot of people don't understand how that works, and I just find it somewhat deceptive for those people because they don't understand that they've been previously taxed on it, or some income stream was given to the town, like, intergovernmental funds came in last year at $83,000. Okay, you didn't see that coming, so you couldn't have applied that to the tax rate, but there's $83,000 more in your general fund now. That's the money that's, you can say we're applying it to whatever warrant articles. And that's honest and fair.
Well,
It's obvious to everybody.
I guess you have a vote on it when you do the warrant articles, you can reject them.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying I'm against any of the warrant articles, I'm would like to see it being a little more transparent in how we're applying the money from taxation. If you're not taking it out of the voters' pockets by reducing the revenue stream, which raises the taxes, and then come back the following year and say, this money we already taxed you for isn't gonna, and, you're taxing us by not applying the revenues. We, as a town, have to make up the revenues. So if you short the revenues, $200,000, well, last year, a 217 would have been $1 on the tax rate. That's what I'm saying, you, keeping some of that, yeah, but not as much as we have been.
well, in my opinion, to the transparency issue, the warrant articles do say if the money's coming from the unassigned fund balance.
Right, but the average voter, the average property owner doesn't know how that money got into that unassigned. Did it just fall off the back of a money truck driving through town?
No, I don't
you know?
disagree, the average voter thinks that the full tax amount stays in the town and not that 63% of it leaves the town, so I mean.
It says on reserve, I mean, basically it's telling the voters that it's.
And we can explain that,
Well, how did you get the reserve? The money comes from somewhere, and that's all my point, because
Yeah.
people don't understand where that money is coming from. If they knew, they might have a different opinion on how that things should be put forward, because it's like, oh, this is already you taxed me by doing what you did, my property tax went up, so you took all that money that came in that I didn't see, and now you come back and tell me we got free money, and it's not the case. That money was theirs, they got taxed on it just by you shorting the revenues, it went right into the general fund, but the tax rate increased. We make up for that, we paid for that offset to be there. And then when you go to town meeting, it's like, this isn't just magic money, that's a that was a tax on the taxpayer by not being applied in the first place. It drove the tax rate up. And that's all I'm saying. I just like to see it done differently. I'm just one person. It's not a big deal. I'm just pointing it out. I'm not trying to change whatever's going on tonight, so we're gonna move on.
Okay. So back to the discussion at hand, are we comfortable with 343,400 out of the unassigned fund balance as a budget committee?
Do we need to decide?
No, you don't, yeah, you can
No?
decide that on your warrant articles.
But some of that's being applied to what we're voting on tonight, so that's why,
Yeah, so you
True.
can either vote yes or no.
yeah.
Well, part of these data point things talks about waiting until mid-January. You know, we'll have a better idea of how far behind the tax situation is looking.
Yeah, we'll get an update before we
Once
vote on the
people
warrant
are-
articles.
Once they're actually due.
I agree, getting all the warrant articles out, we can all say they're all great, and then to see what the final number is, and then you can go, oh, you know, I wanted to buy everything with all the options and the power everything, and it's like, maybe I need to downgrade a little.
I agree with that.
I can't make those payments.
Okay, then are we ready to bring these to a vote?
Each of those.
Each of the, yep, so we got,
Which one you starting with?
start with 4901-01 of the warrants. So, actually, I kinda got a overview, but I wasn't quite clear. If somebody from the select board would explain the Pine River Road paving again?
I would defer to Chris, please.
What's
Chris?
the direct question, sir?
Is this requested amount to finish the project,
It is,
next year?
in 26.
Yeah, in 26, so that was supposed to be, wasn't that supposed to be a 3-year project?
It was,
Now we're gonna do it in 2 years?
yes, because we got $138,000 in FEMA reimbursement that we could use for roads. So, we did the dirt work this year. That was supposed to be
With the FEMA money?
correct.
Okay,
The last mile.
so this would cover the last mile? Oh, this would cover,
1.1 miles, so the dirt work's already done, so yes, it was gonna be a multi-year, which it still could, because that was the original plan, the selectmen did discuss that, but we decided we're gonna move it forward to the discussion tonight, to complete it in 2 years, it actually gets us ahead of, schedule, if you will, and spread out, so we don't have to use so much from fund balance, if you will, but it was gonna be 3 years, because you're looking at a, you know, $700,000 project, right? When it's all said and done, or more. So, because the FEMA money, that gave us the money to do the dirt work, adding the gravel to the road, there was already the box cuts were already done in years past to the worst areas on that section of Pine River Road. So this is a base coat for the 1.1 mile and a top coat of the entire 2.2. And it is broken down in the RFP, I did ask him to separate it, for $19,000 in change. That $19,000 in change is the remaining 700 and something feet from what is currently, for lack of a better word, I'm gonna say delineated as the town line to the fog line of Route 16. And yes, a percentage of that is the town of Ossipee. But to the point where my drawing, I'll go to, on the board, from the last selectmen's meeting, when the question was posed, every single resident on the right-hand side is an Effingham taxpayer. The town line, which is the straight perpendicular line in the lower portion of that little drawing, is what we've been calling the town line, but that isn't the true town line. The true town line actually runs at an angle 279.2 feet. I've wheeled it, I've measured it from that corner to where the granite post is, that is the corner of the Ossipee town line in the state of New Hampshire's property. It's kind of hard to pave that right there, it's kind of hard to plow that, it's a maintenance nightmare, so there's always been this wash back and forth. Like I made the example, Levitt Road and Rifle Road. Yes, there's 0.2 of a mile on Rifle Road, that's the town of Ossapee's, that Effingham maintains. But likewise, almost literally the exact same distance, 2/10 of a mile of Effingham is on Levitt Road that the town of Ospey maintains, year round and paved. To this point, and I was discussing with Leo earlier, it's not the same, it's not apples to apples, but there's more of a distance that the town of Ospey maintains for Effingham on Simon Hill Road. It's a dirt road, but we grade it well into Effingham, just because of the way the town line falls. It's right at the bottom of a steep hill, there's no driveways. So we actually, the town of Ospey, some years ago, we created a turnaround and a pull-off area where both towns you utilize. That's where we turn around grading, so we literally grade that, we plow that. So I mean, that too could be argued as a wash. And even though I've already done it on tape, we are proposing to use it as potential bargaining chip. That $19,000 when we have our negotiations for the rec contract for the town of Ospey for the next 5 years. If it's a 5-year contract, let's just say for easy math. So we offer to them, can we shave $4,000 a year off because we, did some maintenance on a paved road? That kind of almost brings things back up to a level playing field where Simon Hill Road's a dirt road, pavement's obviously a lot more expensive. But it is broken down, I asked the contractor to break it down for the board of selectmen in the town, to show, to Mike's point about, being open and transparent, that this $19,000 is a separate cost because.
Okay, so that wasn't part of the original RFP.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, just out of curiosity, and I know a tax map isn't a surveyed whatever. So I grabbed the tax map and I'm looking at it, and Effingham pretty much seems to own the road as it goes quite a distance, with Ossipee being on another side. Then it gets down to the last house on the road, and it shows a property boundary of Ossipee at it's a 90-degree angle pretty much.
Yeah.
So you're saying, although it shows that it cuts across the road at almost a 90-degree, that's not the case. But I know Ossipee, some years back, I think it was within 10 years maybe, they did that front nose piece that goes out to the 16
They
there.
did a shim coat on it 13 years ago.
Okay,
Yep.
time flies.
And it's starting to delaminate. The delaminate is, the shim coat, it was 2 inches, give or take 2 inches, right? Compacted to 1 inch. Just the shim coat, just the top coat, that's all. And that's delaminating. What that means is just that top section that they did 13 years ago, it's starting to show its age, it's starting to fatigue, it's starting to break up.
Yeah, well, whatever you guys decide to do, I don't think I'd have a big problem with it. There's been a lot of trade back and forth with the town of Ospey on these roads. I know exactly where you're talking about on Simon Hill. I used to ride the truck putting the Calcor down, and, at the end of the day, I think it's best to get along with the town of Ossipee because we share so many connections everywhere.
Okay,
And we will have discussions with them when we do the contract with,
thank you.
And for a conversation, just to further this, just to give you guys a real quick history, and I'll try to make this fast, because Leo and I did talk about it earlier. When we got ready to do Pine River Road, I asked for a sit down, I asked to be put on the agenda for the town of Ospey, for either just myself or the board members, because it was gonna impact the equipment,
Absolutely.
the construction on Pine Road was gonna impact Ospey taxpayers. Just so it was on their radar, I asked to be put on their agenda, and I was turned away. Because I worked there, not because I worked there, but because I worked there, it was said, anything they wanna bring up, any points they wanna bring up, tell my public works director, and he'd bring it to the board. So that's why I haven't already asked to have a sit down and to bring this up to them about the recreation and that idea of maybe using that as, if you will, a bargaining chip, call a spade, right? It's a bargaining chip, right? It's a give and take. It may require all three of us having a sit down scheduled on their agenda because of the negotiation for the rec. So I just saw that as one possible bargaining chip, is to use that as leverage maybe.
Okay.
Might wanna ask them for the $19,000 first, and then when they say no, instead of later being like, hey, we did this for you, and they're like, yeah, but you chose to do it for us.
Well, not to drag this out, but what about all the trees there was a lot of big trees on Pine River on the Ospey side. Imagine there must have been some discussion about removal or any concerns.
With Ospey,
Yeah,
oh, there was some discussion that they stand to, there was no benefit to them, to what we were doing.
oh, really?
It's an Effingham road.
Because it's an Effingham road, and again, your point about the maps, and so like the DOT owns a large portion of the first portion, if coming in from Route 16. Even the first house, the first trailer, there's a yellow mobile home, it's number 10, Pine River Road, if you're coming in from 16 on the right hand side, they have an easement. Cause they own a property, but the state of New Hampshire's property is their driveway, they have an easement to cross their property, you can actually see that on the tax maps. So like one of their, they don't call them surveys, they call it something else, and it escapes me right now. But there was greater than 10 feet of Effingham's property, so all those trees were Effingham's.
Oh.
The water line, the water and sewer line actually runs on the town line. There's a water and sewer line that goes to Barrington Circle and Arrowhead Drive in Ossipee. That actually sits right on the town line, which is well behind all of those trees. Because of that, they're not our trees, they're you guys'
Okay.
trees.
Well, I didn't know if there was some conversation with those trees, cause those trees obviously were not a great thing to have where they were.
No, they weren't, and obviously we had to, there was, I sent letters to all the landowners, I got the tax maps 3 years ago. Sent letters to all the property owners to notify them if there was any, argument to us removing trees, we can do it.
Right.
But it's always good to,
Yeah.
Be good stewards and ask permission first and have the conversation. And have the conversation with Ospey, it's like, hey, this road being better it's on our backs, but it's gonna benefit the Ospey taxpayers. Do you wanna, and they didn't wanna entertain the idea of, like, those are you guys' trees, we benefit none from,
Can we buy that little wedge for 19 grand?
Good point.
The only issue is we'd have to have the conversation with the state of New Hampshire, because they own on the other side of the road too, to where that granite post is, but. And that conversation all started through the budget cycle, right? When David was the chairman, and there was lengthy conversations, so I felt it necessary to do the homework to find out exactly where the town line was, because there was some opposition. Can you tell I'm tired? About spending taxpayers' money to remove those trees, right?
Right.
If they were actually somebody else's property, and so that's what we did, and they were our property, and it's a no-brainer. Anybody that drives that road now, it's a million times better than it was, so
Thank
in
you.
the future, it's gonna be way better.
The municipal building roof, had a one-time deal, 30,000?
Yep.
The what, I'm sorry?
The 30,000 for the roof for this
Yeah,
building, that's a one-time deal?
We had a contractor come in and give us an estimate to replace the roof.
To replace it totally?
Well, to tear up the old roof and put the new
So, rubber roof?
road.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
rubberized membranes
Is
and
it,
gravel,
what's wrong with it?
It's like,
it's age.
30 years old.
I think was done less than like 20
It
after we
was.
bought it.
What was it?
It was, but it
Didn't
was,
hold up.
so the last time it was done, it was only given a 5-year warranty.
Oh.
That's actually we actually have the file, it's been researched, the discussion got brought up during the building committee, meetings. And what we were gonna have to, are we gonna have to tie this building in? Would it have to be the new building be separate, that sort of thing? What's the life expectancy of all of the utilities in this building?
Condition the
And
roof.
that's when it got brought up, and we pulled the old contract, and the last time the roof was done, which was 12 to 15 years ago. It wasn't.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was only given a 5-year warranty,
Huh.
so. At that time.
Maybe a new one we could put solar panels on. It's awfully sunny here.
Take that out of the unassigned fund balance?
There's,
It'll pay for itself.
Well, exactly. But you gotta make that
You
capital
won't. So
investment.
you actually have to have lines that are adequate enough to accept the energy that you're generating.
yeah.
We do not.
Well, you could generate just enough for the building
Yeah,
itself.
Then you gotta have batteries somewhere.
So
No, you don't.
get one,
No, it goes back into the,
just an
Oh, the
inverter.
grid, feed the grid.
it goes back in the grid and you gotta it's in a bank.
Oh, but to
What grid?
Chris's point, you
We
need
can't
enough-
feed the grid. We've already asked that question from the solar people.
Yeah, you
Our
know,
lines aren't big enough to,
right.
the lines out here that send electricity here, we would generate too much electricity to give it back to them.
Well, it depends how many solar panels you wanna put up.
Right, but I mean, to her point, if you're gonna do it,
Yeah.
you're gonna do it to make it worthwhile. You can't.
A flat roof
Just a
on this
tan.
building and solar panels, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't
No.
put solar panels up there,
cause you're gonna mount them in through your rubber membrane.
leakage.
And then the dispatch software, is that one time to get us up to speed with the county? I can't remember from the discussions.
There's a one-time implementation fee, and then it's a yearly after that, so the implementation fee is the biggest,
$18,400?
yes,
Okay,
for both,
Isn't,
and that's for both
that's,
of us.
right, that's for both of you.
wasn't there something that the county or the mutual aid was gonna cover?
That was a portion of the fire departments, which has already been removed from the numbers.
Because it was $26,000
And
and now it's 18.
there is talks to move it to like a 5-year payment plan, but there's not concrete enough numbers yet to be able to present that to anything moving forward into our preparations for the 2026 budget,
Okay,
so.
We'll have something next year.
We're hopeful to have something sooner, but I mean, prior to, town meeting, we may have a better number. But with that being said, if this money is raised and appropriated at town meeting, there's nothing saying that we can't take that money and then put it towards what that 5-year thing is to lessen the impact over those 5 years. If that makes, like if it is appropriated, we can,
Bless you.
Thank you.
talk with the company and be like, hey, we already have this money planned for what you provided us with the first. What was our quote? Can we use that to help offset our years 2, 3, 4, and 5? And I don't think that they're gonna turn it away.
And if I may add to it, the expense that you see, although it's $18,000, it's a lot of money, it would have been a lot more, but the county was at a position and a stalemate, if you will. If they come up with the funding and they made the contract and made this change before the end of the year, it actually saved us a lot of money. And the sheriff's department has stated that they will talk about this and they will help us write a warrant article if we, but they haven't even sorted out the language because this is all new for them as well, but.
okay,
It's an unfortunate thing, but we have to upgrade because our now communication system and our reporting software is pretty much obsolete at this point. They're not supporting it anymore.
yeah, I remember
There's things that
that.
are failing, that they're basically not fixing. There's data being lost from all over the place and they don't know why and can't get it back, so it's I've been using it for the 11 years I've been doing this, and I don't know how much longer before that they've been using this. So I know that even our old reporting software was the same company, so if that gives you, and they were with that for, from what I can tell by records, for at least 15 plus years, so
So it truly is a need to have, not a nice to have.
it is a need.
Yeah,
Yeah, we kinda don't have a
you're lucky you
choice.
got the software
The
this long.
nice part, I'll give you a little bit, the nice part about this software is it's gonna be accessible and usable by not only us, but by the fire department, and it's shareable across the entire county, not only with just police agencies, fire agencies, and it actually talks with the correctional facilities software as well. So now, like, when we bring an arrest in, there's a disconnect between the jail and us, that we have to call them and get all the paperwork and everything. Now it's all gonna be one system, so when they're bailed and the bail commissioner comes, releases them, it automatically will get uploaded to our case file, if you will, and it's already attached, rather than us have to call the jail, find someone to go downstairs, go through a folder to try to find the right paperwork, and then get it to us. So it's gonna be a huge help across the entirety of everything.
Alright, cool. And then I have one last question for the fire chief. How many of your 14 air packs will 25 grand cover?
So we have to replace all of them by 2034. Everything expires in 2034. I did better math after the selectmen's meeting.
Mm-hmm.
We estimated the 25 a year would get us where we needed to be. We actually could lower that to 20 a year and get where we need to be.
I like that.
Obviously, that doesn't include any potential price hikes, but the
Right.
plan is each year will account for a price hike if that were to happen.
Are you gonna start replacing them before that, or?
No, it's
You're
it's
just
a
gonna
one
wait.
time, you do it all at the same time. You don't wanna end up with different technology.
Right,
You don't wanna have a firefighter that wears, this pack with the older technology this day and the newer technology the next day. It opens them up to make a mistake or, make an error if they're not familiar with it.
I tried finding the numbers on the CIP report, cause I thought you included that, but they weren't there, so,
I believe there were some numbers at the end of the CIP involving that.
okay, I might not have gone, that low.
And my recommendation with that being said, we did have a discussion in the selectmen's meeting about equipment and I had wanted to beef the equipment line up a little bit more. We negotiated and stayed a little bit lower to be conservative with the money we had. My request would be that we add that 5,000 to the fire department equipment line to go towards other.
Do we have that here tonight?
and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Yeah, that's the 4916. So you're at 15, so you wanna make the 1520?
That would be ideal.
Okay, but, so we're good with making the air pack CRF 20 grand?
Yes.
Did you find that low money? Low money, the slideshow
I did.
with the RSA's and, okay.
Okay, so then that would bring this total to 588,402. Anybody else do that math?
Yep.
Okay, and then the revolving funds are placeholders, and I understand that's for any excess detail money. We'll go into that instead of a grant line item like we're currently doing, right?
Correct.
It'd be easier to manage.
Scott, did you get that, you were supposed to get that too, that slideshow presentation from, Tammy, at NHMA?
Okay, that might have come in today.
And it,
I didn't look at it, but I did get something from them today.
okay, hopefully it's that, I asked for it to be forwarded to you as well, and then you can disperse it if you
Yeah.
want. It just gives a better explanation about these revolving funds with the details and stuff. There's RSA's that cover it, and it's, again, I wanna continue to use Mike's word, transparency, that's,
Okay.
that's.
No, I did get an email from them today. I just figured they were trying to sell me another training, so I didn't open it yet.
The email should have been forwarded from us,
No, this came right from them.
We'll
So
see till you get.
Caitlin would have sent it to me? Okay. Alright, then, I'm gonna make a motion to approve 4901-01 other warrants for a total of 588,402.
Second.
Any further discussion, questions?
I just wanna touch on that there's an expectation, this $343,000. A fair chunk of that is gonna come from property sales, Leo?
No.
No,
No?
that's from the current unassigned fund balance.
Well, property sales just came in, so,
Yeah, we're not counting that in this number.
Nope, it's not in
That'll be
this.
next year.
okay.
Vinny?
That'll be a separate ETF fund for that.
Any other discussion? Okay, then all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright. Thank you for the extra detail. Alright, so next we got 4915-01 capital reserve funds. Anybody have any questions on that?
I have a couple. Chief, which is the next fire engine that you need to replace and when do you anticipate replacing it?
So that's another thing that, we did kind of outline a rough plan in the capital improvement plan. The capital improvement plan puts hard dates to them, and right now, we don't have any hard dates. Obviously, engine 2 is still out being done as we speak, so, that'll come back and be all set. We've got quite a while before we'll need to replace or refurbish the next piece of fire
Okay.
apparatus. The next big ticket item that we'll look at is an ambulance, but again, there's no timeline on that now, there's no expiration date on what we have. Should something occur where our private ambulance contractor was no longer in place, then it would become more of a pressing issue. But right now, what we have services our needs.
And that's good till what, 2030? Yeah.
They're contracted with us until 2030 currently, yes.
Okay, and just to clarify, how much does a new piece of equipment cost?
Which one?
Say,
So-
say a fire.
So a bare bones fire engine is 1.1 million. Right now.
So we're only about, just off the top of my head, a little over 10% there with what we already have in the account.
No, because what's in that account currently, the majority of that is paying for engine 2's refurbishment. So, no, we're nowhere near it. And we won't be looking to purchase a truck like that outright anytime in the future, anytime in the near future, I should say. We'll continue on this line of refurbishing trucks. It's the best route you can go, it's the best financially, the best way to do it.
1/3 of the cost, isn't it?
Right, and then, moving forward from there, when we do get to the point where we have to actually replace the vehicles, we can look at like the lease purchase we just did with the police cruiser, they do them for the fire trucks as well, where you make an annual payment. So that makes it a little bit easier to swallow than coming up with 1.1 or whatever it is at the time.
Yeah, and I assume an ambulance isn't cheap either.
It's about 500 to buy a new one.
Okay.
Now, there's a lot of used stuff on the market, and especially in our call volume case, a newer used ambulance would suit our needs just great, and you can do that for 100 to 200,000 depending on what you're looking at.
We could get a really,
So we have a pretty open forum here as long as people aren't talking over each other.
we have a really good line of communication with the company that is refurbishing engine 2. I actually was lucky enough to just be stopping at the fire station the day they were there picking it up, and we started a pretty good dialogue, and they sell refurbished ambulances. So you have a municipality that has like a 5 to 7 year rotation on ambulances, they buy a new one from them, or they buy a used one from somewhere else, to say at an auction or whatever, and they go through the ambulance and refurbish it. So you're getting a brand new ambulance for $200,000. Which on a $500,000 to $750,000, like a medic intercept truck, something with all the bells and whistles, you look at, I mean, he can tell you, you're looking at $700,000 to $750,000. These are really nice trucks for $200,000.
And for amount
It's still $200,000,
Yeah,
It's a lot of
yeah, I
money.
know.
Yeah.
but
for amount of calls we do.
Yeah, and right now, we're not doing the transport volume to justify that. The revolving fund that was in the last set of approvals you guys did, we are billing when we do use the ambulance. So if we're transporting our ambulance, we are billing medical insurance for that. We have already taken some money in for that. We're also billing when we go out on like a car accident, you can bill the person's car insurance for the response. So we're bringing money back in for that as well. All that money, the warrant article will ask for that money to go into that revolving fund, and part of the stated purpose is for vehicles, equipment, all that good stuff. So, if we are using the ambulance more frequently and bringing in that revenue, we'll have a way to directly put that back to replacing the ambulance if we get to that point,
I like it.
so.
I know this is slightly outdated, but so of the 149,000 in the equipment trust fund right now, most of that's going towards engine 2?
In the vehicle one, yes,
Okay.
fire department vehicles fund.
I don't think.
Yeah, fire truck and fire
I wanna say it was something like 10,000 we were gonna have
correct.
left over.
remains in that ballpark.
Okay.
I think it's also to reflect, last year we approved $10,000, so it should be about 158 or 159,000 on this, cause this is November 30th.
Right, and you said this just got updated,
Yeah.
but either way, most of that
Last-
money's still going towards the current refurbishment. Okay.
I have a question about the transfer station $2,000? Is there like a specific need for that or do we need to be putting money aside when we have all of the money from fees that are?
But we can't touch that, the fees that goes into,
Capital reserve fund, which we're not agents to expend, so it takes
That's
town
the
meeting.
34,000,
But these,
No,
this
it's
is
not- I'm
for
looking at here, you
capital
don't see it
reserve
in
fund
here.
too.
that's not in here,
Yeah, it's not a capital reserve fund one, it's a specific and
It's like an enterprise kind of
it's, I'm
thing.
losing, it's not.
I know, it's a
like
town meeting,
revolving-
you have to request.
It's a warrant article only thing, so you would have to put it to the town vote.
But we could do that.
And this money, is just kind of always,
Well, it's like this year, we replaced, we put in pads, cement pads down below for the containers portion of it's,
could I finish, Leo?
I thought you were.
No, tell Chris to hold on a second, finish.
Yeah, we put it in pads and everything, that's what we use this budget for.
very accessible.
Yeah,
So I'm sorry, go ahead, Chris.
So the idea behind it was to any future expansion, construction, things like that. The other one is, if we have a catastrophic failure, we don't wanna have to wait till town meeting to have a warrant article to replace a compactor. So you have to have, our thought is having that money in there as a cushion to replace a compactor, God forbid if one failed or whatever. So
minor stuff,
Okay.
right.
Has it been like 2,000 every year to add?
For quite a long time. What's the amount in now on the transfer?
So doesn't the-
station? Looks like about 30, just under 34, so you'll be about 36 with
Yeah.
$2,000 that's come in, that like Leo said. So the price of a compactor would pretty much eat that up,
Oh, yeah,
so it's there as,
safety net,
yeah, it's just money that's right there for all the other stuff that we made.
So the other fund is mostly for capital improvements to the transfer station?
Yeah, it's there for more or less a big ticket.
Not replacing a compactor.
Well, yeah,
or-
you could wait, but that would be a planned schedule.
Right, if we knew one, like we want to replace it now.
Right.
To be proactive, that would come out of that, and there's always been the discussion, which we still would like to do, is when we pay to have our compactors, particularly this time of year, or the containers hauled off, you're paying for ice and snow.
Yeah.
That roof system.
So a roof system has been something that's been talked about for many, many years over those containers, so the start of that was the concrete pads, so.
Okay, I feel like the current enterprise fund kinda hamstrings the town a little bit. As far as
Yeah.
meeting needs, is there a way we can change that
Uh,
at town
town
meeting?
meeting,
That's been talked about quite a bit, and I don't think that anybody really liked the idea of the selectmen having free reign of that much money to do something, I mean,
It's designed to be specific to that location, so it wouldn't be something that you could share somewhere else, even by.
Well, I understand that, but like, you know, we've got this
language.
other fund for smaller expenses that come up and we got all this money sitting here that we basically can't use because we have to wait for town meeting, that doesn't make sense
Well,
to
it's
me.
for planning, and you have to still wait for town meeting with that, that's the statute. That's not up to the town to,
yeah, you know, let's say we wanna put a roof system in and all that, you know, we get it, let's say it's $30,000 or something like that. We can come up with an warrant article at town meeting to expend that fund
Right,
to
but if
install the
anything,
roofs.
and if anything short term came up, we really couldn't touch that money without calling a special meeting, right?
right,
Right.
to the point where like a compactor right now would be our biggest emergency expense.
Okay.
In that $34,000.
Okay. I just, like I said, I feel like the town's a little hamstrung with the current arrangement, so, but,
I mean, we have two compactors, the likelihood of both of them failing, a catastrophic failure of both of them. I can't believe I'm saying it out loud, but it would, you know, I mean, it could happen, right, anything could happen.
right,
Then we're SOL, we have one compactor.
I think one of those came in new back in what, 14-ish or something, 13, 14. So one of them was refurb, I believe, so 20-year life expectancy back then for them. Chances are we'll get more than that, but, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple, it's, you know, with a big piston. The motor's what's gonna fail. So,
Right, now, make a motion to approve 4915-01 capital reserve funds for 34,000?
Second.
Correct.
Right, is that the right, I know the tax impact's different, but, cause
Well, you gotta remember Parsonville.
we're using Parsonville money yet.
Right, comes
And
in.
it's second by Mike. Any further discussion? Alright, all in favor?
Alright,
Any opposed? Alright. Last one, best one. We've got 461901 expendable trust funds.
The only one that jumps off the page to me is just having to explain what the computer network as the jump in funding for.
if I recall correctly earlier, when fire chief presented, that we have a lot of laptops and computers in the town that are just well past their lifespan.
JT probably can explain that a lot better.
The budget committee was given a handout explaining here it is actually, the breakdown. You should have that somewhere, Mike, with the
Seem to have that.
schedule.
Yeah, so that document that Scott has is kind of a capital plan for the next couple of years to get us caught up, addressing the most severe issues first. And, incrementally going from there until we're completely up to date. So the amount that we're asking for is that year one to replace all the critical stuff.
And that's coming from Lakes Region?
Yes,
That's our
the
contract-
hardware
our contractor?
will come from them. Yep.
How are the systems priced compared to what you could buy at Best Buy?
I've done compare and contrast on a lot of their stuff and they've learned my game. So they've been coming back with better prices. I balked at a couple of them and said, well, I can buy the same product on my own for less money, so why would I, why am I gonna have you upsell it? So they've kind of learned that already and they're not upcharging anything anymore, they're selling equipment at cost, so I do still do the homework if we're gonna buy anything from them and make sure we're doing it at.
Glad to hear that,
reasonable cost.
and they'll be productive for at least 5 years?
Yeah, they're fantastic. Any issues we've had, they've fixed.
No, I mean, the computers themselves, they're not
Oh, yes.
like,
Yep,
crappy
we're-
processors,
We're buying
They'll
little
keep up.
equipment, we're gonna try and stick with the one vendor, that was what came heavily recommended based on what other towns have seen and used. And yeah, they're great products.
are these the docking stations?
We do have laptops with docking stations, I have one, Caitlin, the town administrator, has one, and Michelle, the finance administrator, has one. So
Okay.
we'll roll those out where they make sense, and then desktop PCs for the stationary positions.
You wanted an extra 5 on fire department equipment?
Yes, the 5 that we took off of the SCBA,
So you wanna up that to 20K?
correct.
So what's your plans this year for fire, for equipment for next year? I mean, what are you looking for?
We need to replace some turnout gear, we've got some stuff that expired, so we've gotta get people out of that. We were hoping to purchase the remaining Jaws of Life items, we started that purchase last year. I don't think we're gonna have enough to do the remaining purchase with what we'll have in the fund, so we may have to hold that off a little bit longer. But we're building towards being able to purchase that stuff. We are trying to incrementally replace the radios and that stuff as time goes on as well, the bigger ticket items.
So how many in the department now? You have, I mean,
14, 15.
you had a cruiser the other, last week, okay.
Yeah. They're very active, they're coming out on the calls, I'm very happy with that. It's a vast improvement from where we were 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, thanks.
The generator fund, why'd that get dropped down to 1,000?
We're not replacing any more generators in the near future, so there's enough in there to replace one of the generators if either this one or the school were to fail.
Okay,
So we're just
I
kinda,
don't,
And
okay,
there's a new one at the fire station.
we're putting small amounts in, but we don't need to keep heavily funding it.
okay, right, the insurance or FEMA money covered the one at the fire station?
Correct.
Okay. So that went up 5,000, so now we're 56,001. Is that correct?
Why would we do $1, like on the voting machine? Why would you do $1 in a trust fund?
We did purchase I don't see
We purchased a new counting machine.
right, a new counting machine, but we still have the 16,000, they haven't paid the bill, or the bill hasn't been submitted yet. But we have enough in trust fund to pay for the new ballot machine and the extras.
So I think to Laney's point, why are we keeping that open?
It's a placeholder, because that's gonna have to be replaced someday. I don't know, I'm always told you gotta have $1 for this placeholder.
Yeah, it's just
I
a,
mean, I think that's like for operating.
Yeah, from my
Right.
recollection, that doesn't apply to the ETFs.
Right.
Okay,
Cause the fund still exists, right? So
And
we could
to
not
Caitlin-
fund it this year and fund it next year.
Yeah, and to Caitlin's point, when we were voting on these, she's like, she said the same thing, I don't know if that dollar has to be there. It's, I keep being told placeholder, and so,
yeah, Chris has something for dollars.
In this case, Elaine is right, that really doesn't need to be there because it's a warrant article and there's no sense doing a warrant article, having the town debate for that dollar. Next year you need money, you bring it in, unless you're gonna propose some. Unless you're planning to maybe alter that before the February meeting. I don't see why.
so we'll take that dollar out of there, take that one out.
Put a zero?
Yep.
Alright, so now we're 56,000.
I knew we kept you around for something.
Save $1.
Go buy a soda pop.
56,000?
Yeah, good
where
luck.
are you buying soda?
I don't, that was a guess.
I was gonna say that and another $1 can get you a coffee at McDonald's.
Yeah,
Is that coffee?
Small.
you used to be able to get it for $1 at McDonald's.
Change back.
What was this?
Oh,
hotel
that's
this
a
weekend?
whole
The wedding?
different-
Huh?
Was that the hotel this weekend, the wedding? First 2 drinks are free, that's, went bought another drink, vodka and $7, $22.
Alright, I'll make a motion to approve 4916-01 expendable trust funds for 56,000.
I'll second it.
Second by Steve.
I'm not even serious for a second.
You're gonna confuse the minute.
No, we're not going back.
Second by Jim. She knows. Any further discussion? Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Oops. Alright, cool.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a procedural question really quick? On that dollar thing, I know it seems simple. Would you like to see the board revote that and remove that same dollar as well at this meeting, or?
Well, we have to vote,
Well, do
we'll have to
you
vote
need to?
2 of them, yeah, we need to. Or,
Technically 3, right?
I mean, we're
Rule of
just,
5, addition of 5, and removal of $1.
Out for the warrant articles?
but aren't we just making a recommendation? We're not making a
no,
decision.
your budget, this is your budget. It's close to town meeting.
Yeah, but then it says like recommended by the budget committee, not like,
It's
We're not
always
the
better if it
deciders.
matches what we do, what we have.
it does. But it looks good if we decrease it by $1. Up it by 5 and decrease it by 1.
I'll defer to the select board chair. If you wanna hold the vote, hold the vote.
If she likes to show that as a reduction, then I'm all for it.
It's not actually a reduction.
Well, we already have
It's an
a,
increase.
we already have a bit of a reduction over the select board, so.
It's the budget committee just voting on these things as you're gonna later propose them, so we're already just approving what is. You guys can just make those changes in your own meeting, it's not gonna affect.
Oh, we can, but we're still, when it goes to the town meeting, this is your budget that goes.
Yeah,
Right, but your warrant articles, it's just our recommendations, you're gonna rewrite those warrant articles.
To reflect
and it's
what's
just gonna
stated.
match these.
to reflect what
We've
we
already
voted on.
recommended to
Yeah.
what you're gonna
Yeah.
propose, so it's not gonna affect anything. You guys, your procedures is you know.
Yeah, the warrant
you
articles are
guys.
gonna be based on this, what we voted tonight.
Okay, so we're gonna go with the look good approach. Alright, cool.
We're gonna put the onus on you to stay later at your meeting than us staying later at ours.
Alright, so, you'll see it in the draft warrant articles that I'll hand out after we get through everything else, but for those, Jim, Vicky, and then the open seat, the filing dates, for budget committee are between January 21st and the 30th. So get your paperwork in,
Don't we
Steve,
have to vote on this still?
what's that? Didn't we? Expendable trust fund?
Yeah.
46.
916.
Yeah,
We did, cause you,
we did, Steve seconded it,
Yeah, I just didn't,
and then I said all in favor,
I missed that part.
okay, you said aye. You got lost in that whole making the budget committee look good thing.
I did, I was taking a mental victory lap.
Alright, and again, I'm sorry for getting the B-Day to you late. I didn't even get a chance to look at it, if you guys wanna look at it now, or if you wanna take it home and study it and bring your questions next week when you get another one that's different, I'll leave it up to you.
oh, so this is through today,
Yeah, Caitlin,
so we're like,
printed it off
this is pretty
today.
much it.
Pretty much, yeah, actually, good point.
Actually, the books don't always close out until a couple weeks, probably.
I would
Until
anticipate-
January.
I would anticipate changes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Where we are with finance software, anticipate that change.
I had that discussion today as well, we still got some
That
issues,
will change.
with some of the recording from the transfer.
Yeah, to say the least.
But I guess I would just say if there's anything blatant on here that jumps out at you that you want addressed, let me know and I will get you an answer. Does that work?
Did you make this one out?
Yeah, so that's the score sheet, I just printed it out. So where we're at right now, so I don't think you were here for the conversation, but I know I've been forwarding this to the select board and the budget committee as we've gone along. I realized that as I was updating this with the new accounting numbers, the 2025 data got corrupted. So I changed it to reflect the actual budget, which actually changed where we were over under based on our target. So right now, the estimated tax impact is the same. The increase over 2025 is more than we thought it would be, because of those changes. So how I came up with that number was the current tax rate of 545, from the projected 630. So that's based on my calculations, what we're looking at right now, just for the operating budget. To that point, if there's anything anybody in the budget committee wants to revisit, let me know and we can revisit it at the next meeting. I did go to the social security website today, right now the projected COLA increase for next year is 2.8%. But even with that number, we're still, if our goal was to come in at or below COLA, we're still 18 grand over in our current operating budget. You look confused?
yeah, say that last
Yeah,
part again?
I'm really confused.
Yep, so,
Cause like you said, 500, 600, and I'm not seeing those figures anywhere.
sorry, on the last page, the 244035 is a 2.8% increase over the last year's operating budget. Right now, we have an approved operating budget of 2,462,333. So that puts us $18,000 over the 244,035.
So another way to look at it is, if we just subtracted the 2025 operating budget from
What we're approved,
from what we've approved so far, that's just under $85,000, correct? Is that what I'm getting from this paperwork?
I'll say yes, I didn't do that math that way. Well, I mean, the math's in there, but
So
not
the middle
broken down like
column
that.
is 2377 and change versus the final column in the budget of budget committee approved, which is, 2,462,000. Yeah, so it's just under $85,000.
Yeah, it's 236.
Yeah, but, yeah, the reason I have it with the increase is cause we had discussed trying to keep it at or below earlier in the season, the cost of living adjustment for, the taxpayers who are on fixed incomes. So we missed that goal a little bit right now.
And that's, so that difference right there is somewhere in the neighborhood of 22 cents on the tax rate. As it effectively is today,
The 18?
yeah, the $85,000 would be,
Yeah, so what I have is, what I calculated was the increase over our current tax rate of 545. So, right now I'm estimating 630 per thousand, which is an 85% increase over what came out in the last tax bill for municipal.
okay, so I'm just putting it against the valuation of the town. And I don't know if 394 million, whatever that is, with or without utilities, so.
That's without the 391,011,
That's without utility.
that's without,
So then,
and then,
be a little lower, so I'm figuring on the overall tax rate as a whole, probably about 20 cents is what I'm guesstimating,
An increase?
Yeah.
From this year?
yeah. That's what I think I'm seeing,
Well,
well,
maybe I'm,
Yeah,
I've got it at 85 cents.
with the budget only being, I say only loosely, $85,000 increase over last year.
Right.
And you're saying that's an 85 cent
That's a
per
lot.
thousand increase?
Well, that's just, so that's just subtracting the current tax rate of 545 from what I'm projecting at 630. And the 630 is what we've approved, 2462333, divided by the town valuation of 391,011, and then times 1,000. My math could be wrong. Feel free to do your own.
what was the town at before you got to $6.30?
What do you mean?
What's the town, the municipal, tax rate right now?
545.
Yeah, that can't be right.
It's not 545. Oh, I mean,
Right.
sorry, you said the town, sorry.
Yeah, just the town part, that's all, cause that's all this reflects is the operating budget, it's not including warrant
Yeah,
articles.
so we're about $84,867 over from
Yeah.
last year, this year's.
84 what?
$84,867.
And then if you put utilities into the mix, because that's what you'd be taxed at as a town, is you'd have the utilities in there, except for when it applies to the school. So if you use 394, it gives you about 21 cents, between 21 and 22 cents. And if you're having a higher number involved in that, it would drop it some, so figure about 20 cents, just as a rough number.
So-
is your increase on the whole tax rate.
So 22 cents.
Yeah, and again, you know, how it calculates with utilities versus without is, that gets into the mix, and it's gonna alter.
Yeah, when you said 85 cents, so I'm looking at the numbers.
Well, I'm just,
Yeah,
I
I'm
just,
sorry, no, I mean, no.
no,
That doesn't add up to me, I mean,
no,
we
that's,
were under a $2 million budget, a rate,
right,
right around a $2 million budget, for every $100,000 in our valuation back then, when it was like 15 cents per thousand,
right.
for every $100,000.
No, I like the 22 cent number a lot better, that's why I said, check my math, my
If
logic isn't always
If the
logical.
valuation of the town was 200 million, then 100,000 would be.
Okay, so, yeah,
Cause you divide it by 1,000, so it'd be like a half a buck.
There's some people
Right
on.
now, you're looking at like 20 cents
oh,
for
yeah,
85.
yeah, 22 cents,
well, and on the tax rate breakdown, it is a 394 valuation, but it's a tax effort of 2,151,000.
That's because
Whereas
it's
this
not,
middle column, we have 2,377,000. So depending on which,
well, this is our current budget. That's the budget we're working on right now.
but the 545 tax rate was based on
Right, the
2.1
tax
million.
commitment is, that tax commitment of the 2.1, you gotta take the $300,000 money we took from unreserved fund balance. Cause if you look in the narrative, it says that our unreserved fund balance is 1.7, and then the finalized
Yeah.
is 1.4, and it equates to 21.03%. Yeah, 21.03 is our unreserved fund balance, and so we asked DRA
Then you
why
took
the
it.
discrepancy, and they said that $300,000+ was the money that we took in
Last year.
2024's town meeting
Yeah.
from unreserved fund balance to offset some of these things, so that your tax impact is 2.1, where it's 2.4 is the operating, because that's we have to vote on, even if we're using the money
Right,
somewhere else, we still have to.
but then if you're trying to figure out the tax impact from now to the future, are you comparing 2.4 to 2.5 or 2.1 to 2.5? If you're trying to compare it to $5.45,
Well,
so,
I like the new math better, just take the actual dollar increase and divide it by the
If you're
valuation.
using your valuation, you're applying that number to the present tax rate. So whatever the tax rate changes next October or so, the numbers all get jumbled in. It's a little like making sausage, once DRA gets it, because they'll factor in warrant articles and different things and certain commitments and money that you use from trust funds, like, everything changes the calculus. And you won't always be 100% right, no matter what I've ever tried to do.
Be pretty close.
Be pretty close, yeah.
But ultimately, my point was, we missed our goal.
yeah,
Well, it's not over yet, because we get to the February meeting, and quite frankly, when everything's on the table and we see all the budgets put together and this is the number, you know, you can stare at it as a committee and say, oh, we need to reduce this operating budget by 0.5%. And it's just a bottom line number, and then the real problem, it falls to the selectmen to just rejigger that as to how to apply it.
No, like I said, if there's anything you guys wanna revisit at the next meeting, let me know and we'll revisit it. And we actually review the warrant articles, right? We got the drafts, I'm gonna give you guys the drafts, so don't leave without them. Any public comments?
I have something before we conclude.
Sure, and that would be any other business.
And this isn't to point out anything other than just being something I looked up as a factual point. We took a vote, I was in support of the vote to fund this, so I'm not trying to cause trouble. But I did read the contract for the Parks and Rec. And just because there was some discussion about a legal point if we didn't fund that. Which I found hard to believe that we could be in some legal jeopardy there. So I just wanna point out that agreement termination is not page 1 of the 10 pages. And the agreement may be terminated at any time in its entirety by Ossipee, or Effingham, with 15 business days' notice from one party to the other. Written notice shall be provided to the other party via certified mail with a minimum 15 days' notice. So Ossipee could terminate our involvement and we could terminate being involved. So this contract is pretty standard in things like this. So whenever another contract is presented for any length of time, there is an out on it for either party, so nobody's totally locked in.
I think that, just for clarification, I think the conversation about what is the penalty, and it wasn't a monetary penalty, and we knew that language is in there, obviously there's an out clause, it's, our kids can't go there, that's the penalty.
Oh, right,
We
no,
can't participate.
but there was some
So there is a-
discussion about whether or not the contract could be halted at some point. Not that I'm advocating for that at all,
Yeah.
I'm just putting out there that we wouldn't be in breach of contract or any of those.
No, we
Because
just,
there was some
and I thought we
terminology.
actually,
No,
addressed
that-
that
and-
night was, we wouldn't be in breach to where they could hold us civilly and we still have to pay it. We just couldn't send our kids there.
Okay, I must have missed that.
Yeah, I knew there was an out in the contract.
Okay, so if it wasn't clear to me, then maybe I missed it and maybe others may have missed it, so.
No, I appreciate
There
it,
is
thank you.
always at some point for the town, especially a town meeting, if the majority of people didn't wanna keep a 4-year or a 5-year contract, there is an out. So it's not as though you enter a contract for an extended period of time and people feel like they're just locked in for the next 5 years. In case the world changes, the economy changes, the situation in town changes, there would be an option. So not to get people to not vote for something because they're locked in, or
You
to
have that,
encourage them to vote, it's just,
The
I'm just
draft.
letting people know it's,
The warrant article, John?
there's options.
Yeah.
Cause I may have got that wrong, so.
I think that one of the things that actually,
No.
I'm gonna say, the discussion went further, and I think even, like Jim was involved with the discussion of, well, then people will just write a warrant article at town meeting, like what happened, so we got into the discussion about what happened last time, that the town in the budget committee and the selectmen decided not to fund that, and that was, everybody showed up at town meeting. So
Right.
that, I think that's where the conversation gets.
And I think a lot of that got misconstrued by the public, by what people put out there. It wasn't that anybody was trying to not fund it. It was that all parties, select board and budget committee, felt it was a decision for the people in the town, put it on a warrant article, and then nobody's opinion, on a small committee here or there or a board was ruling the day. It was just, it wouldn't be an operating thing.
Except for if you look at the minutes, the budget committee chairman at that time said if they want it, let them write a petition warrant article.
Well, it didn't go as a petition, it went just as a warrant article.
No, a petition warrant article.
I don't believe so. I believe I was on the board then, and we wrote a warrant article.
Years ago.
So I didn't-
What was it, 5 years ago?
Yeah, we're in
It was in
the last year, so.
21. I'm
Started
pretty,
in
well, it
2022.
would be in the 21 or 22
Yeah.
report, whatever.
All I remember was a lot of people showed up, a lot of people spoke about that issue, and after it was decided, a lot of people left.
Yeah.
Right, that's, yeah.
Which basically gave you the pulse of the town. It seemed to be here to stay.
Okay, any other business from the budget committee?
I would make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay, before we do that, next meeting's January 13th, you guys got drafts of the warrant articles that we're gonna be reviewing. And Jim made a motion to adjourn at 7:36, I'll second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, everybody, have a nice new year, if you're into that thing.
Get a draft.
If you want,
Warrant.
have a good
That
night.
might have been my email, but
I haven't seen the emails, I didn't get one.
Free alcohol at the Hillsman residence or something at midnight?
You want a
Be
copy?
there a little early?
Let me shut this off before I on that.
Oh, did I say that out loud? Too late.